Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, John Kelly. This is the Live Free Podcast, and we are here with the one and only, the Black Airbender.
Hey.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for coming on the show, spending some time with us, dropping some knowledge with us. I want to thank my crew, Brian and Jello, for setting everything up. And I want to thank you for actually tuning in and listening. We really appreciate it. If you like it, hit it, subscribe, share it. You know the drill. You don't have to support small businesses with money. You can support them with your attention. So today I wanted to bring you, what's your first name?
Devon.
Devon. I want to bring you Devon, who I know as the Black Airbender, and talk about breathwork. Talk about the Avatar, The Last Airbender, my favorite show of all time. And just talk about health in general. Because as I've learned, and as you guys know that listen to this podcast, holistic health is multidimensional. So we need to look at all dimensions of health so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found breathwork?
All right, so my name is Devon, a.k.a. the Black Airbender. So I found Alchemy Breathwork, which is a nasal breathing system utilizing subliminal breathwork music, parasympathetic into the nervous system in that regard, diving into the human technology that we all have. And how I found it was through losing everything through a business partner. And then I went to Chinatown. I met my Sifu at the time. Really cool guy. I told him what I was going through.
What led you to Chinatown?
What led me to Chinatown was actually Bruce Lee's dojo.
Oh,
and
shit.
it was one of my things. I don't like to call it a bucket list anymore, but one of the things on my list that I wanted to do and just feel the energy there and really, saw what Bruce Lee saw on a daily basis in that area. And a couple blocks down they were giving like a Bigu seminar. So Bigu is a Taoist tradition where you learn of energy cultivation in the body, so you don't need dense
matter
substance. Yeah, dense matter in that sense. Yeah, so I told him what I was going through, and he understood. After everyone left, we had a deep conversation, eye to eye, man to man. And what I heard from his seminar a little bit, because I was just walking by, they had the door open, a bunch of people were in there. And I liked what I heard, and I told him what I was going through, and he took me under his wing for a couple months, and the rest is history.
I think they call that grace. Is that what it is? Yeah, it's funny how when you hit a low point in life, you're finally open to things that can really impact you in a positive way. It kind of makes you check what you thought was important and realize what's truly important, which is the people around us, our health, the environment, the earth, life in general. But we get so wrapped up in the materialistic aspect of life, whereas you lost money, right? But you gained so much in value with that experience. And I think that if we can begin to look at life through value versus cost, we'll be a lot happier.
Yeah, he had me fast for 2 weeks on liquids. I never did that before. He had me fast for 2 weeks, and then we went straight into my first ever 2-hour breathwork session. I was crying, I was laughing, and then the one thing that kept on coming up in my head, man, like how was I breathing doing around the business partner, doing around certain things? And if I had more efficient, if I was more aware of the efficiency of my breathing, I don't think I would have went down that dark rabbit hole that I did.
Yeah, because you mentioned the sympathetic nervous system before. I don't know if everybody who listens know what that is. Can you explain that a little bit?
So sympathetic nervous system is fight or flight, where your body is in protection mode and cortisol level spikes up, and versus parasympathetic, which is what alchemy focuses on, your cortisol level goes down. So cortisol is a chemical that our body releases, and it protects the organs because it's in protection mode. And cortisol level over time plays a big role on aging, inflammatory aspects in that regard, and the overall aspect of everything in terms of your perception and your habits.
Yeah, so basically if you're in survival, you can't be in creation.
Nope.
And cortisol is released when you're in a survival state. What other than, something like stressful event where somebody stole from you releases cortisol, but what other things could release cortisol?
So many different factors.
How long you got?
I'll tell you this. The one thing that really made me see the in-depth importance of being more in parasympathetic was a friend that I met along my path, and he got divorced, and he told me, you know, he was going through an illness that he had. He wouldn't tell me what it is, but I respected that. Going through whatever illness he had, he tried all different medicines, different doctors, herbalists, blah, blah, blah. But it was until he left his wife that illness went away.
Yeah, guys, you heard that, right? He left his wife and he got better.
Literally.
That's a disclaimer. Don't do it and think that it's always going to work. It only works in certain situations.
Only certain situations.
Most people might be worse off, myself included, if I leave my wife. But he was stressed all day, every day. Yep. And that's why he was sick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Humans are the only animals that can stay in a stressed out state. An animal gets chased, it runs away, it releases cortisol, releases adrenaline. So it runs faster, it gets stronger, it gets away, then it goes back to relaxing again. A human wakes up in the morning, checks the phone, 400,000 corona deaths. Boom. Goes take a shower, toothpaste is not on there, toothpaste is leaking. Boom. Goes to get in the car, somebody cuts him off. He's angry. Boom. Gets to work. One of his coworkers says something slick. Boom. And now he's already predisposed. So everything's coming like a threat. And then you stay in survival mode all day. Cortisol, cortisol, cortisol. And then you try to go to sleep at night and you're so wound up from the email you just read because somebody's unhappy with your performance that you can't even sleep. And then that cycle keeps on going and keeps on going. And eventually you get disease, you get cancer, you get diabetes, you get high blood pressure because your heart is always beating fast. Mm-hmm. That's why you're going to get high blood pressure. So we know where you came from and we know what you do. We know what breathwork is, but can you explain what exactly breathwork does for the body and how you use it?
Yeah, so I use pure nasal breathing. So I'm a big emphasizer on the exhales rather than the inhales because the inhales, you take in that external environment. I always have this saying, the external environment will rule the way you breathe until you rule the way you breathe. So to really build up that internal dialogue, I really emphasize more on the exhales because there's also more of an auditory response way beyond the physical when you hear your own exhales versus the inhales. Even humming releases nitric oxide in the body. So that's a scientific proof you can look up yourself.
Is that why every time I get around a meal I'm like, oh, why am I humming right now? Yeah.
And that's why music itself is such a nice stress reliever, depending on what kind it is, but yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like lo-fi chill.
Lo-fi chill.
Chilled cow. I just put that on, I'm like, doom, ticka, boom. Instantly chilling, vibing. So if you guys ever need a vibe, lo-fi, chill cow, check it out.
Yeah.
So you explore the exhale, like, I heard of lion's breath.
Lion's breath.
That's like a, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the things you focus on because the internal environment is coming from outside. And you're controlling the exhale.
And you're controlling more of the exhales because that internal environment, when you inhale, you're also taking in the plants, you're taking in glyphosate, smog. Yeah, you're taking all of that. And you're taking it in, your body has to process. The body has to say, all right, I have to use energy to figure out what am I going to do with this inhale that you took in all this information that I'm feeling in the body right now that's pumping 70% of your blood. So when you exhale, you're completely empty and there's more of an internal dialogue rather than too much energy being focused on the external.
Nice. And when you focus on the external part of the breath, is there a rhythm that you explore depending on what you're trying to do?
So many different rhythms, but one of my favorite rhythms is regular inhale and then 3 partial breaths. Regular inhale. How'd that feel?
Feels good. Yeah, it feels smooth. Yeah, I love breathing. I love the feeling that I get when I reach a certain point of saturation with my breath and my relaxation, my mind. I feel, all of us, I'm sure, are similar in this way. When we're always thinking, I feel like my mind is like a bucket of water, dirty water that's stirring. But then when I finally take time to breathe and relax and still my mind, all that residual BS falls to the floor, and I really have clarity, and I can really see what it is I need to do to move forward.
Yeah, because the mind actually follows the breath. Where are you going to get that inspiration from? Keyword inspiration, inspire, to inspire, inhale. So the mind follows the breath. So if you can control the breath, you can control where your mind goes. Not fully control the mind, but control where the mind goes. Direct it, exactly, because we're constantly receiving information. Even when you're looking, you're constantly receiving information. And the body takes energy taking in that.
Yeah. And also, when you are focusing on your breath, it's almost like the language we need to use to control our involuntary system, because we can control where our arms are going to go, but we can't control how our heart beats. We can't control how we digest food. We can't control how our cortisol is released. Our bodies do that based on the external stimulus. So by creating the breath and focusing on the breath, we can tell the body in its language that it's safe and that we can grow and that we can be happy. Because it's hard to be happy when you're stressed. It's hard to be happy when you're always thinking about the next thing or that's something you did in the past. And because we have that unique ability in our minds, we spend so much time in the future or in the past, we're never really present. And I find it difficult for myself every single day because I'm thinking about the call I have at 2, or the podcast that I'm going to do, or the meeting that I have, or the workout that I have to get in, because that's non-negotiable. So there's all these stimulus is coming in, and I feel like our breath is going to be a victim of our stimulus unless we control our breath and then, by extension, control our environment. So I'm sure this is part of what you learned in your journey.
I like how you brought up stimulus too, because you can also produce healthy stimuli. And that's why I produce alchemy the way I did, to have fun with the breath so it doesn't feel mundane. So when I work with one-on-one clients, I tell them, hey, don't get too lost in beating up yourself. Say, I didn't do this yesterday, I do that. The point is to have different patterns, because we have so many stress factors. And how are we utilizing breath work in real time beyond the sit-down session, where it's not compact and mentally you're not putting it in a box, where you can utilize it in everyday life.
Nice. Like the grocery store.
Like the grocery store.
I love using it
like
in the grocery store.
Like you're walking the dog. Just anything.
Oh, you haven't walked my dogs. That's the problem. Jelly Bean and Einstein.
What kind of dogs are they?
They're mutts.
Ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
They're mutts, and they're both like rescues. One's from the streets, one's from prison, aka the Humane Society.
Oh, snap.
So they're institutionalized. They're scarred for sure. So they run the house, they run the block, and they're only about this big. Walking them is an adventure. I've even called the dog trainer, and it worked for like a week, and then they were just like crazy again. But anyways, when you say the stimulus that we need to think about positively is a great thing to explore mentally and to think about, because we're so used to stimulus being at us instead of creating the stimulus. You know what I mean? So through your breath work, not just sitting down for meditation, but in the car, in the shower. I did a little bit today. Ever since we talked the other day, I've been inspired to do little bits here and there. And you really notice how big of a deal a couple breaths can make. And I liken it to somebody who's a fighter, right? Throwing a jab. If you throw a jab 28,000 times in a day, it's going to be a nasty jab. We breathe 28,000 times a day. If that breath is a little short, or if that breath is too hurried, then we are going to develop a pattern of muscle memory that's going to be a bad breath.
I like how you brought up pattern, because, even when it comes to diets and things like that, like I don't force any diet in any of my clients. I have clients in all different ranges of diets, right? My main point is utilizing breath, because breath is like the foundational of health. If you can amplify your breath pattern in healthy ways, then you can develop better eating habits as well, no matter what diet it is. So my main point is, when you have better breath patterns, you have better patterns in everyday life in terms of your choices, so to speak, because mental patterns is affected by your breath patterns. It's not that people are addicted to certain foods and stuff. Low-key, people are also addicted to breath patterns. That's what people don't also realize. You may try different diets and stuff, and I've seen people with different eating disorders and stuff like that, and they don't realize how are you breathing? How is your breathing affecting your mental health as well?
Yeah, because you're breathing all day. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's going to affect everything that you do. It's kind of like a first principles concept. Why are we worried about the diet when the breath is out of whack? Mm-hmm. You know, why are we worried about, I liken this to the people that think the vaccine is going to save them. Why are you worried about the vaccine when you haven't stopped drinking, started exercising, started meditation, started eating whole foods, started sleeping more, started spending more time with your loved ones? Let's start here. First principles, right? Then the vaccine is great. But if you drink alcohol a lot, if you stay up late a lot, if you overwork, if you don't exercise, the vaccine doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I worked with lots of people on the SAD diet, and before... And
the SAD diet? What's
SAD
that?
diet. The American diet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Standard American diet.
The standard American diet, right? And some of those people don't tell me about their diet until... I'm talking about a specific few. And these specific few... We just work on breath. We're just working on the breath. And then later on, they tell me, hey, I've been on the SAD diet. And as we've been working through the breath, I realized that, hey, I understand, I can feel what this food is doing to my body. That's the point. The more you can feel, the more you can heal, and the more you can deal.
Bars. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
The more you can feel, the more you can heal. That's a shirt, bro. Speaking of outfits, I'm digging yours. I think everybody watching is probably wondering what the pyramid on the head represents. Oh. I know a little bit. Why don't you educate the audience a little bit?
Yeah, so the pyramid represents, so this is orgone plated. It's made by Paradigm. It's founded by a NASA scholar named Dr. Fred Bell, who has a deep history on an unfortunate end by unseen forces, quote unquote.
He knew too much. He knew too much.
Yeah, he was way ahead of his time, and the technology that he made is for healing. So this is orgone plated, and orgone is, you can look it up yourself. It was founded by William Reich, who went all around the U.S. and created an orgone box. So we put different materials that came from the earth, very healing and electric, and he put people with cancer, people with different illnesses in the box, and it would help them heal. So in orgone plating this, what they do is they powder different crystals together, and then they ionize the gold, and they mix it all together. And it's funny enough, Dr. Fred Bell, when he walked into a room of the daughter of William Reich, as soon as she saw the pyramid, she said orgone plated. So you can put this pyramid under GDV imaging, and you'll still see the electrons still flow within the pyramid. So it's not just metal plated, it's also orgone plated. So it also protects you from EMF radiation, from 5G towers, things like that.
So what's EMF radiation?
EMF radiation is, think about a microwave. Think about you putting yourself in a microwave. It's really like that. All those radiation literally will spin your cells in anti-clockwise when it's supposed to be going clockwise. And they have something in the medical field called left spin blood. And when someone has left spin blood, you're more prone to deterioration and different illnesses. You'll age faster, things like that. And one of the top athletes, especially when I work with some of them, they tell me they go to the doctor, and the doctor will draw out their blood and put in a blood spinner. And when they put it out, if you put it side by side, you can see how thicker the blood is because it's spinning more in the right direction. And you stick it back in the athlete will heal like 10 times faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And the pyramid on your head, does it create like a shield for the EMFs?
It does, and it creates a healing environment. So they did a study where they put a bunch of fruits underneath the pyramid, one inside the pyramid, one outside the pyramid. A couple days in, they cut open the fruit on the inside of the pyramid. It was still more alive than the ones outside the pyramid. So it promotes healthy growth as well.
Yeah, people don't realize how important energy is. It's not just what you see. Mm-hmm. You know, the electromagnetic spectrum of visible light is super tiny compared to how big it is. So, you know, gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, infrared, you don't see any of that. just like catching you ever wonder like, how did I catch a song on my phone? You know, like if YouTube's not connected, you're not, or whatever service you use. I'm just dating myself. I'm probably the only person that listens to music on YouTube. My kids always make fun of me because I don't use Spotify. But whenever I turn on the phone, boom, a song is there. Where does that song come from? You know, is it flowing through your head? You know, so it's like, you got to realize energy is a real thing. There's plenty of experiments out there, plenty of research. If you just Google, you can look at water, right? If you had a can of water and you put hate on one, and you had another can of water and you put love on the other, you would see under a microscope the difference in the crystallization of the water. You would see disorganization and you would see organization, like perfect snowflakes. There's also a study along the same lines where they took rice and they put love on one jar, hate on the other jar, and every day they would tell one rice, I love you, the other one, I hate you. This one rotted almost 50% faster. This one. 30 days later, this one's almost fully rotten. This one's barely starting to rot. So it just goes to show you how intention and energy are key to health, and we are responsible for our energy. We are responsible because I'll tell you right now, corporations don't care about your energy. They're going to put synthetic fertilizers on your food. They're going to put 5G in the air or EMFs in the air. Wi-Fi, we all have Wi-Fi. I mean, we're on Wi-Fi right now. You're the only one safe. Not even a pyramid. What we should do is like put a Faraday cage around the whole gym. So ain't no EMFs coming in
Word,
here.
yeah.
That'll be pretty pimp. And then you got to worry about your water. The government's in charge of your water. The city government, who knows what they deem appropriate to go in your water. Have you ever done a study? Have you ever taken water and looked what's in it? No. None of us have done that. We just take everybody's word for it. Oh, yeah, sure. You know? But if you take responsibility for what's in your air with your breath work, what's in your mind with what you study and what you don't study, your body through exercise, eating through understanding where your food comes, why it's important to buy organic vegetables, why it's important to get grass-fed beef, why you should be vegan, why you should go keto, why you should fast. If you learn all of these things, you're going to be responsible for yourself and you're going to be able to protect yourself. And all the information is out there. And that's really why I think people like you are important, because you're out there living through an example that you learned and you're teaching other people. And there's not many people, because what you're doing is actually a boon to humanity. You're the kind of people that are going to change the paradigm of the way we look at life. Like, why aren't our kids taught breath work in first grade? You know, the Centner Academy here on 43rd Street, it's the only school I know that teaches breath work, that teaches meditation, that feeds kids organic foods, teaches multiple languages, lots of art, lots of music. You know, why are we not doing more of that? Why are we teaching kids these rigid subjects that don't allow any critical thinking? Do you think it's by accident? What do you think?
So.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
You know, I think the system isn't broken. I think the system is working exactly how it's designed to work. And we are the ones in charge of changing it. Ain't no politician going to change it.
No.
We're the ones that are going to change it.
Most of the politicians are there smoking cigarettes and, yeah.
Yeah, if a politician, I'm not going to say any names like Joe Biden, if a politician's son has a crack problem, then he didn't even take care of his first most important priority, his family. Because you don't get a crack problem by accident.
Right.
You know, it takes a lot of neglect. It takes a lot of mistreat. And you're going to trust that man with your whole life? You're going to trust that man with the country? But people don't think on those levels. They don't look at the first principles. They don't look at the breath. They look at what they're told to look at. And we have to change that as individuals through example, which you are representing right now fully. So I appreciate you. And
brother. Thank you.
I was hoping you could maybe tell us maybe one or two breath works that we can do for the audience so that they can take something home with them and practice today maybe.
Yeah, so we can do threes and sixes.
Those are pretty cool numbers.
Yeah, 3, 6, and 9. I love it.
All right, so let's go maybe through a couple of those, and then if you guys want to follow along with us. I think it'll be really cool. We'll spend a couple minutes just doing some breath work.
Yeah.
So if you're driving, press pause.
Well, there's the beauty of parasympathetic. If you're driving, you can still do it.
So we can keep our eyes open.
You can keep your eyes open. It's
All right.
perfectly fine. If you're
Perfect.
walking the dog, you can do this. If you're running, you could do this. I actually have guided running breath work on my YouTube channel too. So check that out.
So I want to ask you real quick,
Yeah.
because I told you about my running breath work.
Yeah.
Was that some intuitive shit, or was that...
That was on point.
That was on point? I
was
just
on
needed
point.
one more breath, I think.
One more breath. Yeah. Because think about it this way. In terms of sacred geometry, which we also use in alchemy, we have 33 vertebrae.
Oh, damn, you just want to start another podcast?
Okay, true.
You want to start another podcast? You want to go golden ratio, Fibonacci? Oh, no, we're going to get deep. All right, keep going. We got 33 what?
We got 33 vertebrae. We have, there's sacred geometry within the body. And like I said, there's an auditory response, and the body takes way beyond the physical response. And just breathing this way puts you into a really direct focus of healing, of just overall awareness. I don't like to say flow, but yeah,
Flow's cool too. I'm trying to hit some jumpers, you know? I'm trying to get in some flow on Jello. Oh, watch out.
You ball?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, we got to play.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I got one hip, so I stand around and I shoot, and then I complain the rest of the week about how bad my hip hurts, and then I say I'm going to go get surgery on it, and then I forget to set the appointment, and then I go play ball again, and then the cycle repeats.
Oh, snap.
So I'm up for that, though, for sure.
Yeah, so let's get into a little bit of breath work here.
Let's do it.
Right. So the sequence of breath we're going to be doing, it's regular. I want you to have silence the inhale, and then 3 partial breaths out. Silence the inhale, 3 partial breaths out, and then I'm going to say silence. And then when I say silence, then you're going to breathe where you can't hear the breath whatsoever, and then really extend your exhales longer than your inhales.
Got that team.
And I want to go over the main locks real quick. So if you are sitting down, chilling, relaxing, then with the eyes, you want to be gazing up, looking at the middle of your forehead. You can have your eyelids closed, halfway closed, up to you. And that stimulates the middle of your forehead, which is mainly glands, which dials into parasympathetic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So the next lock after that is your tongue. So this is your tongue. You're going to curl it to the roof of your mouth, the soft palate. Hold it there. And the next lock after that is squeezing only on the exhales in terms of everything you go to the bathroom with.
All the muscles down low?
All the muscles down
Like
low.
when you stop with your pee
Yeah.
in midstream?
Yeah.
And you're like, watch how much control I got.
Hey, that helps with semen retention too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, semen retention is key.
Key. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keyword key. Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So let's start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Silence. Let that inhale come in naturally and really extend the exhales longer and longer. And you can start swallowing your saliva. how that tastes.
Tastes good.
So that's a benefit of nasal breath work as well. You get more electrolytes.
I need those. I spent a lot of time in my life in a sympathetic response. I'm trying to go on to the other side of the spectrum. Maintain somewhat of a sympathetic presence because it's necessary, but definitely live most of my time parasympathetically. And that takes work. That's not natural. So I want to thank you for coming in, spending some time with us. I look forward to seeing you around the gym. Maybe you could do a class once in a while so more people can feel the benefits of this. Why don't you tell people how they can find you for some private coaching?
Yeah, you can find me through Instagram, The Black Airbender, with all underscores, and YouTube, Devon, The Black Airbender.
Yeah, your channel is actually really good because you spend a lot of time doing content. I've just seen in the last 3 days since I've been following you, you did like a 45-minute thing, you did an hour-long thing. So people can really learn a lot in a small amount of time from following you. So guys, like I said before, make sure you follow, people that you want to support because those are the people that are going to be changing the world. The people that are not afraid to live their truth, and they need all of our help, and we need to help each other along in this journey because the cards are stacked against us, but if we stand together, we will prevail and we will learn along the way. So thanks again. Thanks, fellas, for setting up the podcast. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the gym.
Thank you all for sharing the breath. Peace.
Hadouken!
So guys, I'm here just to share with you the amazing breathwork, parasympathetic breathwork I had this morning. It was such a surprise because I got my period yesterday and today I was just feeling really drained. I usually don't feel this way, but I've been going through a lot of emotions lately, and I was just like literally on Clubhouse and he was offering a breathwork session. So I decided just to join, and I've experienced breathwork before, but this one was just like gentle and so relaxing, and I felt like my muscles melting literally, and my brain, it was just like calming. I felt this state of alert but also like relaxed.